The deception behind Alyssa Burkett's murder, the chilling story of Andrew Beard's disguise. In a small town in Texas, a tragic crime shook the community. Alyssa Burkett, a loving mother and daughter, was found dead in what appeared to be a violent attack. The case began with confusion and uncertainty, but as the investigation unfolded, it took a dark and twisted turn. What initially seemed like a random act of violence was revealed to be something far more calculated and sinister, orchestrated by none other than Alyssa's ex-boyfriend, Andrew Beard. The crime scene. The events of that fateful night began with a disturbing call to 911. Alyssa's neighbors reported hearing loud noises, followed by the sound of a woman screaming for help. When authorities arrived at the scene, they found Alyssa's lifeless body, brutally assaulted, with no immediate signs pointing to a suspect. Witnesses told police they had seen a man fleeing the scene, but their descriptions were vague. They believed they had seen a black man involved in the attack, which led investigators to focus their efforts on tracking down any individual matching that description. Initial clues pointed to a random act of violence, with no clear motive other than an opportunistic attack. However, what was most chilling was the sense of deliberate intention. This wasn't just a senseless act. The crime seemed personal. As investigators started digging deeper into Alyssa's life, they discovered a key piece of information. Alyssa had recently broken up with her longtime boyfriend, Andrew Beard. Although the two had ended their relationship on seemingly cordial terms, investigators learned that Beard had a history of jealousy and controlling behavior, which began to cast doubt on the nature of their breakup. The disguise. A calculated move. As investigators explored every possible lead, they began to uncover more details that raised red flags. A breakthrough came when they examined the available witness descriptions. Initially, the witnesses had described a man with darker skin. But as the investigation progressed, authorities noticed something unusual about these descriptions. The key was Beard's knowledge of the witness reports. He was aware that the descriptions of the attacker didn't match his own appearance. Beard, a white man, knew that the investigation was leaning in the wrong direction, so he took extreme measures to throw investigators off the trail. He knew that, if he appeared as a different person, he could escape suspicion. In a brazen and calculated move, Beard disguised himself as a black man. He altered his clothes, used makeup to darken his skin, and changed his overall appearance in an attempt to match the description given by the witnesses. By doing so, Beard hoped that the authorities would be led down a false trail, allowing him to avoid capture, while investigators focused their efforts elsewhere. His actions were calculated. He understood that the police were working with limited witness descriptions, and that a change in appearance could confuse those searching for the killer. The investigation, connecting the dots. Despite Beard's deception, the investigators were not easily swayed. They continued to follow the evidence, refusing to let the misleading witness reports halt their progress. One critical discovery came from security footage in the area surrounding Alyssa's apartment complex. The footage revealed a figure in the vicinity during the time of the murder, and while the person's face was obscured, their build and movements were inconsistent with the descriptions of the black man given by witnesses. As the investigation deepened, detectives began to uncover links between Beard and Alyssa that couldn't be ignored. Forensic evidence began to build against him. DNA traces found at the crime scene, fingerprints on objects near Alyssa's body, and phone records showing that Beard had been in contact with Alyssa shortly before her death. Moreover, investigators discovered a pattern of troubling behavior in Beard's past, including instances of stalking and harassment after their breakup. This was no random crime. Beard had a clear motive: revenge. Beard's obsession with Alyssa, coupled with his inability to accept the end of their relationship, pointed to a disturbing possibility. He had planned her murder all along. The disguise was simply a diversion to delay the inevitable discovery of his involvement. The truth unfolds. As more evidence mounted against him, Beard's plans started to unravel. Investigators realized that his disguise, though impressive, was not enough to cover the glaring gaps in his story. He could not account for his whereabouts during key moments of the crime, and his movements were inconsistent with his alibi. Most damning of all was the discovery of a series of texts and phone calls between him and Alyssa, showing an escalating pattern of emotional manipulation and threats. The breakthrough came when investigators connected the